First and foremost, hook 'em, hook 'em, hook 'em, hook 'em. Even if we lost, that's okay. You know what? Losing is not okay. I will not sit here and act like losing is okay. It's totally fine. But they are my team. My hair, it's late. Listen, I'm doing my best, okay? I have so much to say about this game that I just watched. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is terrible. This is terrible. This is terrible. The offense sucks. It actually did suck. That's actually a fact. So that's going to remain. But the other part of me is like in this weird fan space where I'm like, 5 years ago, this would not be possible for Texas. Like, I remember Texas 5-7 and we struggled and we were terrible. Then I remember us being 8-4 and we were bad and we were like, what are we? Are we going to figure this out? Are we going to get better? And then I remember us being 11-1 last year and I remember what that felt like. And I remember last year, all we kept saying is we thought that if we had been challenged more in the Big 12 last year, then we would have played better against Washington in the playoffs. And so having said all of that, then this year we get Georgia and we're like, okay, we're getting our test, right? And so part of me is like, we got the test that we've always wanted. We didn't show up. We didn't do what we're supposed to do. We got punched in the mouth. It looked like crap. But at the same time, part of me is like, but we needed that because I liked that we were able to be presented with challenges and we were able to see where we were good at and where we weren't good at. And it's just so like interesting. Like sports is such an interesting dynamic because it's kind of like life. Like something can get you down and you can be like, that's so terrible. But then when you look at where you were, you're kind of like, yeah, that was bad. But like, was it as bad as we think it was? The other thing that makes this kind of weird too was like everybody was picking Texas to win. Like everybody was picking Texas to beat Georgia. And so that lets me know that we are so close. Like the Texas Longhorns are so close to being where they want to be. People were picking us because they thought that we were better. They were picking us because they thought our team was going to go out there and they were going to execute. And yes, they have been seeing Georgia and have been kind of questioning what they were doing, but they were picking us because they think that we're close and they think that we are capable and they think that we might be there. And so I can't help but to be excited about that. Do I wish we would have won? Absolutely, I wish we would have won. We didn't win the game. So I thought about how I was going to make this video. Some of you know, like I usually do like the things I love, the things I hate, and I like usually break it down. I'm not going to do this. I am just going to go in and talk about the things I want to talk about because this is my video and I can do what I want to. So before I get to the other end of this, and if I forget, I'll say hook 'em here and then we'll get to the video. I actually felt like I was watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so if you know anything about the Steelers or if you watch the Steelers, what you saw happen today against Georgia is exactly what the Steelers do. So the defense comes out, the defense is ready, gets 3 turnovers, gets all these things, gets stops, get this, gets that, get that. And the offense can't do anything. And that's exactly what was happening today. This offense was terrible. Yours was terrible. The offensive line was not good. All the money these offensive linemen are making to play at the University of Texas, and that is the performance that you come out with? I don't know. Like, I get it. I get that it's football, and I get that sometimes it's just not your game, but you're making a lot of money to play on this Texas offensive line. So coming out and playing like that, that was not it. So whether you want to say you were outmatched, they were bigger, they were stronger, they were faster, all those things, okay, I'll give you those things. But the great thing about all of this is I get to see what kind of team I actually have now because we lost. You don't get to see the real person or the real team in a win. You get to see the real person in a loss. I get to see this real Texas Longhorn team in a loss when you don't blow somebody out. When somebody basically puts you in your place and lets you know that you're not as good at them, as good as them. When somebody comes into your house and dominates you, I get to now see who you are. I get to see who this Texas team is going to be because you know what? This Texas team is now going to Vanderbilt. And so Texas has to play Vanderbilt next week, and I'm very interested to see how they play. This offensive line, they have some work to do. They have some absolute work to do. Quinn Ewers has some work to do. They absolutely, positively have some work to do. The funny thing about all of this, though, is coming into this season, what was I harping on? Defense, 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 defense. Our defense is this, our defense is that. I'm so worried. Our defensive line, our secondary, they need to be tested. They were tested today and they showed up. And they showed up and they shut me up, okay? Because the defense today was not the problem. I don't care that they gave up 30 points because why they gave up 30 points? Because the offense couldn't move the damn ball. So I am not mad at this defense. Like, I am okay with this defense. I think this defense has some things going for them, and I'm okay with this defense. That offense, they have some work to do. They have a lot of work to do. You don't believe that this defense did what they were supposed to do? Let me read something for you. So Texas's defense tonight, forced punt, interception, interception. Georgia scores a touchdown. However, it started at the Texas 13 because our offense turned the ball over. Field goal. Georgia started at the Texas 28, so our defense held them to a field goal. They started at the 28. Then touchdown. Georgia started at the 34. So listen to what I'm saying here. Then a field goal. Georgia started at their own 45 and a forced punt. Think about what I'm saying here. That defense held forced punt, interception, interception. Hello, where was the offense? Where was the offense? Like, it would be nice if the offense would like to step in and do something. But you know what? This offense told us who they were against Oklahoma. We just didn't believe them because Oklahoma was so bad. But this offense is in trouble. And so I came into this season and I was like, it's going to be our defense. It's going to be our defense. Like, I don't know, our secondary. It is this offense. This offense needs to figure something out. And there's something that is happening with this offense that it just looks discombobulated. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look new. It doesn't look fresh. It doesn't look different. It doesn't look creative. It doesn't look anything. It's actually really bad. And so I don't know what that means. I don't know why it looks like this, but they have to figure it out. They have to figure it out. Next week, they're going to Vanderbilt. We don't have any time to feel sorry for ourselves. You got punched in the mouth. So now get up and figure out what you're going to do next. That's it. That's how this goes. This is football. Get up or don't. Like, this just is what it is. There's not very many other options. The other thing I want to say, like, and this sets a really bad precedent for football, and I'm totally aware of that. However, shout out to the student section. Like, that was terrible. Like, let's be honest. It was terrible, right? Because their officiating sucks. We all know the officiating sucks. I talk about how terrible they are all the time, so I won't go into that. But the fans throwing things on the field and then the officials getting together and having a conversation, they are so bad. They are so bad. I don't know why New York or whoever calls down to them doesn't call down to them more. They are so bad. I can't believe their officiating has gotten so bad, but it is what it is. The call was made. I just want to say that to the student section. I do not condone throwing bottles or anything on a football field or throwing anything on anybody ever, actually, but it kind of worked. So shout out to them, but don't shout out to them, but don't do it again. That's kind of where I'm at with that. The other thing I want to say that I don't know what this is called, but there's something that Ewers is doing that I noticed that it didn't look good. So what's happening is, like, they're hiking the ball right, and that's a run play, and he's going to hand the ball off, and instead of turning back this way, he's doing a full circle. And I saw him do this full circle. I saw it happen a couple of times with Oklahoma, and I was like, I'm totally overreacting. Like, he's not doing a full circle. Like, I'm seeing it wrong. Then when I'm watching them play Georgia, if he's doing a fake handoff and he has to spin around and he turns his back to the defense, mind you, a defense that's giving him fits all night, I don't understand what that play call is. Maybe it happens more than I think it does, and I've just never paid attention to it, but I don't really like my quarterback who's struggling in the pocket, who's struggling all game, who can't find a target to save his freaking life. I don't really like him turning his back to the defense. So I don't know if somebody in my comment section can tell me why we're running plays where our quarterback at some point turns his back to the defense, because it looked a little weird. So that caught my eye. So as if that damn offensive line gets another fucking false start. I cannot handle it. I don't know what has happened to this offensive line over the last couple of weeks, really, because I feel like it kind of started happening during Mississippi State, and I made a video about it, and I was concerned about it. And then I was like, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe they need to get into the bye week. Maybe they need to do whatever. This false starting on this offensive line isn't officially a problem. They did it twice tonight, I think, or 3 times tonight. I don't understand why this offensive line keeps false starting. What is confusing? You guys have played together for 3 years. You've played together for 3 freaking years, and you're at home. Why are you false starting? What is happening with this offensive line? I don't know. I don't know what to say. All I know is you cannot win games when your offensive line plays like it did tonight, when they keep false starting like they did tonight, when you have a quarterback who looks like he's lost and forgot that there was a football game today. And it's just crazy because, again, this is the same thing I say when I'm talking about my Steelers. I feel like I am watching the Steelers right now, and that pains me. That pains me to say, because the Steelers have a pathetic offense. And as of the last 2 weeks, if we're being honest, if Oklahoma wasn't so bad, this Texas team also would have a pathetic offense. So they need to figure it out. They actually need to figure this out. It is also not lost on me how many drops Georgia's defense had that could have been interceptions on Ewers. It was bad. It was all bad. It was just bad. And for those of you that are wondering my thoughts about the arch in the Ewers switch or whatever, I called the arch switch. I knew it was coming. I had a feeling it was coming and needed to happen. And it's kind of, I won't say why I think they made that switch, but whatever. However, I knew coming out of halftime we were going to see Ewers again. Mainly because when Arch got in there, he looked lost as hell. And so I knew that switch was going to be made. I knew it was going to happen. I do think watching the way that Arch prepares and the things that happen this week leading up to Vanderbilt will be very interesting because now there's been 2 games where we have seen Ewers kind of play whatever. And I have been on record as saying the second that Arch is ready and the second that Arch comes in there and takes Ewers' job, Ewers won't be back on the field. I'm on record as saying that. I've said it a million times over. I've also said that Ewers is the guy. And until Arch is ready to take over that job, Ewers is going to be the guy. So when Arch is ready to make that job his, I'm ready to cheer for him. But until Arch goes in there and is decisive and he's the guy, Ewers is the guy. Ewers just sucks right now. He has to kind of figure that out. And that's just kind of is what it is. At the end of the day, this comes down to this. Texas goes into the SEC. Everybody has high hopes. They think they're going to do this. They picked them to beat Georgia. Nobody thought Georgia would beat Texas, which lets me know exactly where we're at. But we lost. We got punched in the mouth. We didn't look good. First half didn't look good. We didn't look good at all. But the second half, they came out and they made some adjustments. Do I think Texas was ever going to win that game? It didn't really feel like it. It just felt blah. I will be honest and say, when it was like, when they cut the lead down, it was 23-15 and they had Georgia pinned and like the 3 or the 5 or whatever it was. And then Georgia had that 89-yard touchdown. I knew then the game was over. However, I am one of those people, and I won't say who, and I won't name any names, and I won't do any of those things. I am one of those people, I always say, you don't figure out into who somebody is, into if a team is good, or you don't figure out anything until they face adversity. Texas is now, for the first time, facing adversity. For the first time in this 2024 season, we are now facing adversity. We have fans that think that they know better than the coaches. We have players that are probably doubting every single thing that they're doing. We have guys that aren't playing that are probably starting to wonder if they're better than the guy that's playing. All of these controversial things are starting to happen. We lost. And this is what happens when you lose. When you lose, everybody scrambles and everybody goes to their corners and everybody thinks they know and everybody has a hot take and everybody says this and everybody says this. You're not as good as you thought. You're not as good as you thought. You're not as that. All of those things don't matter. But a good team is going to be able to rise above all of these adversities and all the criticism and all these things. This is the first time Texas is facing it this year. They've been riding the high for so long. They've been #1 in the country. This is why I didn't care about any of that. It's time for us to see who Texas is. It's time for us to see, are they a team when the lights come on and they get really bright, we panic and we fold and we push back? Are they the type of team that says, hey, we lost. We quite frankly got our asses handed to us, but that's okay because now we know what we need to do to be better. Who is this team? Who is this Texas team? I am super excited to see who this Texas team is because what Texas does next is going to tell me every single thing I need to know about this program. Are we actually on a road to being better and improving our play? We saw what the ceiling was. I think tonight, I don't think anybody would disagree with this, Georgia looked like the best team in the country, and I'm not just saying that because it was against my team. They looked great. I will say, though, that Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers looked very obsolete, but that's my own opinion. However, if that is the best, let's just say Georgia is the best the SEC has to offer right now. Texas just played the best team that the SEC has to offer, and we got to see how we stacked up. And what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that information? How hard are you going to practice this week? Are you still going to show up to meetings on time? Are you still going to have the same swag? Are you still going to think that you're fantastic? Are you still going to think that you have a chance to win the SEC? Who are you? Who are you? And I cannot wait to see what Texas team shows up, and I cannot wait to see what Texas team I get, because that is going to tell me every single thing I need to know about this Texas team moving forward, and it will help me to manage my expectations on what is going on and what to expect from this Texas team as we move forward. So there it is. We lost, right? We got our loss out of the way. Thank God for that. We got to see who we were up against a top team. Got it. Okay, check. Every team in the SEC now has 1 loss. Okay, check. So here we are, right? Like, this is just what we're doing. The one thing I will say that I'm so glad of is that I don't have to hear this stupid PFF dumb things that they make up. Oh, you're this percent, you've only lost for this much, you've only trailed this, you've only done that. I don't care about any of that crap. I care about what my team looks like on the field. I care about the eye test, I care about what my brain is telling me, and I care about if they win and lose. That is all I care about. So all those dumb stats and all those stupid things, a lot of those, we got those monkeys off of our back for this game, so we don't have to think about those anymore. Although I will say, I think the last kind of remaining stat is like Texas hasn't allowed a touchdown, a passing touchdown or something like that. So hopefully we get that out of the way, but because I'm tired of all these random things. But this is who we are. We are a 6-1 football team. We are a 6-1 football team that Georgia just handed our asses to us. So now we get to go to Vanderbilt. So what are we going to do? Are we going to show up? Are we not going to show up? Are we going to be scared? Who are we? What is this team? What are we going to do? I can't wait to see it. As a fan, I can't wait to see it because this is when real football happens. When somebody comes into your house and they beat you in your house, game on. That's how I see it. So I hope Texas sees it this way, and I hope they're up for the challenge this week. But I'll end this video here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and all of those things. And as always, hook 'em.